Now, WGN Investigates follow-up. Earlier this month, we showed you the long lines and confusion at a downtown courthouse.
Many people missed their hearings because they didn't know they were being conducted online. WGN's Ben Bradley has new insight on problems with the notification system and reaction from the person who runs it.
Cook County Court Clerk Dorothy Brown's office did not respond to repeated inquiries before our first story ran. But then when we found evidence that her office was sending out dreadfully late notices about court hearings, she responded by calling the media's reporting about her leadership racist, which doesn't really address why she's notifying people about court hearings 9 days after they took place.
This is only for traffic court. Everyone else enters through there. You'll still have to wait in line, but yes, still try to call if you're a few minutes late.
In mid-July, we showed you the confusion at the courthouse.
We get a piece of paper with instructions to go on Zoom.
And the frustration among people who waited for several hours in line only to be told their court appearance was happening online.
I'm 65 years old. I have medical underlying conditions. Why put people at risk to come down here when we're going to do the same thing on Zoom?
Leon Hendricks contacted us after driving all the way up from Peoria for a traffic ticket, waiting in an hours-long line before learning he'd missed his online court appearance while standing in an actual line.
What that tells me, number one, is that there's a huge communication gap in the Chicago court system.
Imagine Hendricks' surprise when, days after returning home to Peoria, he received this notification in the mail from the court clerk's office. It told him his online court hearing was scheduled for July 7th. Problem is, it wasn't mailed until July 16th.
My staff has sent out almost 1 million postcards and emails. But yet, all this news story can focus on is one card that they found that they think was sent out in error because they just feel like this black woman's office had to have done something wrong.
Clerk Brown agreed to an interview that her government staff streamed on her personal Facebook page.
I am going live.
Brown read a letter from a judge saying he liked his courtroom clerk.
Miss Handy has been my backbone.
And claimed negative coverage of her 2 decades as court clerk, which have included a long-delayed computer modernization system and a federal investigation into hiring. Well, she claims all that is fueled by unconscious racism.
That regardless of what I say today, this story will probably come out very negative from my office, as it always has come out over the last 20 years, continuing to perpetuate the internalized, mediated, and institutionalized types of racism directly onto me.
Clerk Brown, I'm confused of why it's racist to ask about all the folks who have been confused and drove down to the Daley Center for court appearances they didn't have to attend.
And I want to apologize to them because during this pandemic...
But you said it's racist for me to raise that question.
During this, I want to apologize to all of them. But work with us. We didn't cause this pandemic.
Now, nearly a month after the Daley Center reopened, confusion continues. People show up when all traffic cases are being heard online or over the phone.
I've been up here since 9 a.m. at 9 o'clock court. Been sitting here on hold listening to cases, and they didn't call mine. I tried to speak to the judge before they left a second ago, and they hung up the call. So basically a waste of time.
When I came here, they told us to get in the line and they gave us a paper to do it over the phone. And I'm like, I could have stayed in bed for this.
As for the notifications about online court hearings being mailed after they took place, Brown claimed it was intentional.
Yes, a few postcards went out, but they did not go out in error. My staff was fully aware that those cards were past the court date, but they wanted those individuals to get something.
I don't understand the logic of intentionally, as you say.
The unconscious bias and the institutional racism that I'm talking about is the fact that you're focusing on that as opposed to working with us to get the information out.
So we'll point out again, as we did when the courts first opened and when our original report aired, all traffic cases are being heard remotely. Many others are as well. You can find information for specific cases and learn how to attend online by going to the Cook County Court Clerk's website. As for Dorothy Brown, she's not seeking re-election in November. Ben Bradley, WGN Investigates.